Good morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Wednesday, September 8th, 2010. It's 11:30 a.m. here in Princeton, New Jersey. In London, it's 4:30 p.m. In Hamilton, 12:30 p.m. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. We have a lot of news today. Two breaking stories. This may mean nothing. It may just be high finance machinations, or it might mean something. It just came out. Aon in Chicago said that it's going to sell $1.5 billion in senior unsecured notes to help fund its $4.9 billion acquisition of the human resources firm Hewitt and Associates. The notes will be offered in three series. One group that's due in 2015 will have a fixed annual rate of 3.5%. Another group due in 2020 will have a 5% rate, and the final group will mature in 2040. That'll have a 6.25% rate. The notes are being issued in lieu of drawing on a senior bridge term loan agreement that Aon executed just last month, presumably for this purpose. Very interesting. We'll see what the market reacts. Right now, Aon stock is actually up a little bit. In other breaking news, a good friend and a well-known Scotsman, Terry McGuinness, has been appointed by XL Insurance in London as Chief Information Officer for International Property and Casualty, as well as Global Specialty Business Units. McGuinness joins XL from Arthur J. Gallagher in London, where he was CIO for all businesses outside of North America. He has 30 years of international experience in the field and has served in key roles as CIO of GE Insurance Europe, Global CIO of GE Auto Financial Services. Mr. McGuinness is one of the good ones, and we wish him well in his new job. Now to the news that we composed for this issue before the breaking stories came. Well, let's bring up this picture. Everybody remembers him. It was surprising. It's been 2 years since we've seen him. This, of course, is Martin Sullivan. Martin Sullivan, who began his career at AIG at the age of 17. Martin Sullivan, who Hank Greenberg sniffed, never went to college. Martin Sullivan, who Hank Greenberg had as his successor in place. Martin Sullivan, who Hank Greenberg ultimately said was the cause of AIG's demise. Well, he's back. He's going to be deputy chairman of Willis Group. He's going to head a newly created unit that will cater to large and complex international clients. Joe Plumeri, CEO of Willis, said, "We're very pleased. As a matter of fact, we're ecstatic that Martin is joining us." For his part, Mr. Sullivan said, "Just like in my last job, I expect to feel like I spent most of my time in a 747. Standard & Poor's announced that, in fact, they're raising their outlook on the creditworthiness of the nation of Bermuda, up from negative to stable. The action lifts the immediate threat of a credit downgrade, which would have resulted in the government having to pay higher rates of interest to borrow money. Might have also had some impact on the on-island reinsurance industry." Cunningham Lindsay, New Zealand CEO, speaking from Christchurch, said that the operation to restore the city to normality after the 7.0 earthquake could take years. The group is working within the cordoned-off zone in the heart of Christchurch. The quote from the gentleman, actually Martin Norrie, said, "We've already seen some claims heading into the millions and tens of millions of dollars. Repairs will take their time. That's if the buildings are even repairable. Normality won't begin to return here until midweek next week." He added that the city's recovery from the quake could take years. Older buildings, apparently made entirely of brick, have suffered much more structural damage than newer timber frame buildings. Cunningham Lindsay has a team of 50 operating claims adjusters in the zone. Norrie also said that the bulk of commercial damage is set to be picked up by Suncor's New Zealand operation Vero and IAG Group, the two most prominent insurers in Christchurch. He said a number of insurers have made the comment that while these losses are serious, their local retention means that the quake will not hit their viability to any great extent. As we talked about yesterday, reinsurers are set to face the majority of the exposure resulting from the earthquake on September the 4th. Further to the west, the insured cost of a storm system which lashed parts of Victoria, Australia during last week is likely to exceed 10 million Australian dollars, There's a group of 7 or so cows that seem to have been marooned by the rising flood waters. In addition to those poor cows, tens of thousands of homes in Victoria were left without power after gale force winds hit the region. Heavy rain also affected much of the northern part of the state. Additional rain is expected today. Well, you knew this was coming. British Petroleum issued a report saying that a combination of mechanical failures and human error caused the oil field tragedy in April this year in the Gulf. The incoming CEO, Bob Dudley, said that the tragic accident was, quote, a shared responsibility among many entities. Not to belabor this, he said, first, cement barriers at the bottom of the well failed to contain hydrocarbons, not BP's fault. Secondly, the results of negative pressure tests were incorrectly accepted by BP and Transocean, the rig's owner, even though well integrity had not been established. Thirdly, the Transocean crew failed over a 40-minute period to recognize the influx of hydrocarbons into the well until they were actually shooting toward the surface. Fourth, when the well flow reached the surface, the Transocean crew incorrectly routed the well flow to the mud gas separator rather than diverting it overboard. This in turn led to the fifth issue, a flow of gas into the engine rooms through the ventilation system, leading to the explosion. Well, you can tell everybody's getting ready for the ultimate lawsuits. It's going to be a big one, that's for sure. The stock market in New York now is up 75 points. We'll go to a word from our sponsors and come back with the rest of the news.
Every day, the world wakes up and goes to work, pursuing the unique opportunities that lead the global economy forward. The complexity and close connectivity of today's global marketplace is a true modern miracle that can create unparalleled success. But it takes confidence, passion, innovation, and understanding.
Enabling opportunity.
Protecting capital.
Engineering innovation.
Investing in your future.
Ensuring continuity.
Finding the right balance.
It takes Aon.
Design for peace.
Here's a gratuitous little story reported by Insurance Day. It's amazing how people can get away with this. This is how rumors start. FBR Capital Markets say that Berkshire Hathaway and Fairfax Financial would both benefit from buying XL Group and boost the insurer's investment return. This is according to Bloomberg. Berkshire and Fairfax would, quote, take a more aggressive approach to investing XL's invested asset base, as these larger companies have higher risk tolerances and a greater ability to absorb market volatility. This is according to a gentleman named Bijan Mozami, an FBR analyst. None of the firms would comment. Now, Mr. Mozami, XL recently has gone through a near-death experience, in part due to risky investments. Mr. McGavick and others down there have done a very good job bringing the company back into a powerhouse. Thank you very much for your observation. Here's a quickie. Chartis Insurance continues to pull back from its exposure to U.S. workers' compensation business. Nick Walsh, vice chairman of American International Group's P&C business, told an industry group that they're concerned that insurers are undercutting prices in the line. They said that the rate softening indicates that it's not a market they want to increase their capacity in. Well, somebody's increasing their capacity. Swiss-based Nove Re is going to add credit and surety reinsurance to its underwriting group. Nove Re will underwrite this business with a new team of experienced professionals. The development of the new line of business comes a year after the formation of the reinsurer. Stefano Lorenzini has been brought in from Swiss Re. He's going to be heading the new credit and surety group. SCOR in Paris unveiled a 3-year plan to boost profitability and growth. It's going to take on more risk as it's emerged from the financial crisis. SCOR aims to increase organic sales growth to 5% from 4.5% through 2013 and reach a level of profitability 10% above the risk-free rate over the cycle. They also plan to moderately increase its risk appetite for 2010 to 2013. You have to give credit to Dennis Kessler. SCOR, too, was a company that many feared was on the brink just a short time ago. In Mexico, Petróleos Mexicanos, Latin America's largest oil producer, also known as Pemex, said that its 235,000 barrel a day Cadereyta refinery outside the city of Monterrey was hit by an explosion. The second such incident at the company in 6 weeks. 1 person died, 10 were injured. Mexico itself, as a country, imported 432,000 barrels a day of petroleum products from the U.S. during the month of June. Cadereyta processed 104,000 barrels a day in July. It's unknown whether or not the explosion is going to affect the production. The Mexicans are saying that it will not. Last night was a very difficult night in Detroit. Fire officials in Detroit are saying that flames have swept through at least 25 homes in Detroit, fanned by strong winds that toppled power lines across the city and knocked out service for over 115,000 Michigan homes and businesses. The National Weather Service reported wind gusts of up to 50 miles per hour. The Detroit Fire Department said that some fires might have been caused by dead tree limbs falling on active power lines. Well, our final story. Everybody in the West likes to go around bemoaning the current financial situation, bemoaning the state of politics, bemoaning the state of everything in general. Well, if you lived in Nigeria, especially in Bauchi, Nigeria, up in the northeast corner of the country, you'd really have something to worry about. Last night, about 800 prisoners escaped a federal prison holding Muslim extremists. There was a sunset attack by gunmen who are believed to be members of a radical sect. The attackers went cell by cell at the prison, breaking open locks and setting fire to part of the jail before escaping during the confusion. 4 people died. Police believe that Boko Haram sect followers freed by the attack are hiding in the mountains surrounding the prison. Members of Boko Haram, which means Western education is sacrilege in the local language, rioted and attacked police stations and private homes in July of last year. They caused 700 deaths. Many of the people arrested in the wake of those attacks were being held in the prison. They've now been freed. Nigerian authorities said that 36 prisoners have returned to the jail this morning, hoping to serve out the remainder of their short sentences. Wouldn't that be something if Guantanamo Bay was suddenly released? The prisoners there were. Yeah, I think you have problems. The people in Lagos are wondering how that happened. If we have any other news, we'll come back and tell you. If not, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.